a very, very good afternoon, evening in some places of the country, and a very warm welcome. I believe it's cold in most parts of this country, so a very, very, very warm welcome to everybody. Thank you for making the time. We appreciate that you're here. We're excited that you're interested in what we have to share. So really, really looking forward to the session. My name is Sajida, and I am the program head for the Advanced Certificate and Higher Certificate in Management within the School of Commerce. I am going to hand over to our panel members just to introduce themselves, and then we will engage further in the session. Charlotte, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Saj. Good evening, everyone. My name is Charlotte Mnguni. I am the lecturer or the academic owner for HRMA, which is Human Resource Management. I have a postgrad in Human Resource, currently doing my master's in Human Resource. I worked most of my time in industry as a recruitment consultant. Then I moved to an education space, also as a human resource recruitment. Then I moved to an HR business partner. And after a few years, I decided to move to the academic space. And I'm currently here and I'm loving it. And I'm loving to share and impact the knowledge and also to engage with different people. Yeah, and I love human resource management. I believe it's a nice field, especially because we deal with people. So thank you, Saj. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, Charlotte. We'll delve into that a little bit more in a bit. Nomalizo. So Nomalizo will introduce herself. I tell everybody that Nomalizo is our logistics and supply chain management queen, and she shies away when I say that. So Nomalizo, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Saj. Good evening, everybody. My name is Nomalizo. I am the logistics and supply chain lecturer here at Millpark Education. I've just, as of the 1st of June, hit 20 years in the higher education sector. I've worked in various positions and institutions, both public and private, in higher education. I started out as a buyer, and that's where my love for supply chain came in. And I ended up now as an academic. So I'm happy to be here in this session and to share my journey with you and experience with you. So welcome, and thank you, Saj.
Thank you very, very much, Nomalizo. Sietso, over to you. Thank you. Our burst of energy.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am very, very, very much happy to be here. My name is Sietso Shama Masedi, and I think from me, this session means a lot because I see myself in the session. I see myself in someone's shoes who wanted to further her education, because with me, the passion for education, or where I am, it started with me while I was a student. I started as a pre-degree. You know, when you're a pre-degree, you start higher certificate up until I did my master's. So the only thing that I know for the past decade that I have the experience, it's just to be in the educational space. It's just to be in the private space. So I understand it from the school perspective, because after I graduated my honors degree, after 4 months, then I got a nice gig. By then we call it a gig, where I got a post of being a lecturer. So I have been lecturing since then up until now. So that is, education is the only thing that I know. And I think I'm very passionate specifically for business management. And I think we'll get more to that so that you can understand how did it play a big role moving from the higher certificate up until, could either be up until the master's level or PhD level or whatever the level that we wanted it to be. But I think we'll get there. So in general, that is me, Tsietso Shea, academic owner at Melpark Education. We are here for you. We got you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, Tsietso. And now, last but not least, I'd like you to meet Jade. Jade is one of our current students. And Jade, please, if you can introduce yourself to our team who's here with us. And also, I think while we're at it, at the same time, maybe share what you are busy studying. Thank you. Thank you, Jade.
Thank you. Firstly, I'd like to thank everybody for allowing me and giving me the honor to join you this evening. I'm very, very privileged to be here. Yes, I am currently a student. I'm currently in the process of completing the highest certificate in management, so the NQF 5. And I'm fortunate at this point to be completing my final module. So I'm almost at the finish line, wrapping up on the final assignment and final exam. I'm hoping for a positive outcome so that I can finish that and have that course completed. And my intention is, of course, to then immediately transition straight into the advanced certificate in management so that I can get my NQF 6, because I've got a very big career and goals and aspirations which I'm trying to achieve, all of which these certificates are going to get me there.
Jade, thank you so much. It really, and I said to you earlier, it gives me goosebumps having you here, just listening to you, listening to your aspirations. And yes, we've had the conversations about you wanting to articulate to the advanced certificate in management. But just before we get there, can you maybe also, while you've got the mic, can you just share also what encouraged you to embark on the higher certificate in management?
So I've obviously been in corporate because I'm no spring chicken for many years. And for a long time, you could get away with that based on just experience alone. And I feel that the landscape of corporate at the moment is very much more aligned to what do you have as a tertiary education. And that's something that I didn't focus on when I was younger. So I don't have any of that backing. So for me, it's really important, no matter where I decide to go in my corporate career, that I have these types of qualifications to substantiate and to support the experience that I have. And especially in the career that I've moved into just about a year ago, there's certain levels of qualification that you are required if you're going to move up. And for me, even though I'm in a position of management at the moment, if I really want to reach the top of my game in that industry, I need to have an NQF 6 so that I can be registered, because I work for an FSP, as a key individual. So even though I have my RE5 and my RE1, if I don't actually have that NQF 6, I can't do anything. So it's critical.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So it's really a matter of you taking ownership for your career, taking ownership for your life, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you very, very much for that, Jade. While we're on that, we offer online support in the form of tutor posts or consultation sessions, specifically on the advanced certificate in management, on the higher certificate in management. The structure is slightly different, however, more structured. And Jade, you can also share with me your experience, because you come from the distance learning platform that we had previously, yes, and we've migrated to the distance learning online platform. And it's more structured, there's more engagement points. And the reason for that was to give our students an enhanced experience. Can you share with us, Jade, if that is what you experienced, or if you're finding it more challenging, because this is now your third module that you're doing on the new mode of delivery. So if you can please maybe just share with us what has been your experience thus far.
So I definitely think that the way it's delivered now is superior, and it is far easier to navigate. As someone who is not only a full-time employee, I also have a family, I've got a child. So time management is critical. So the way that the course deliverables are laid out now allows me to take ownership of my studies and my journey, to map out my time. I know exactly what is expected of me, when it's expected of me, so that I can manage my entire life and not just my studies. And also because it's online and I can access it at any time, when I have downtime during the day, whether it be at work, I can go online and I can complete elements and deliverables that are there, they're available. And if you are stuck, I can ask my lecturer online. I can ask other students who are doing the same module as me. And even with the help desk, if I'm having a technical challenge with something that I'm not sure about, I can't navigate, or something I can't find, they're online all the time there to answer my questions and answer my tickets so that I can progress in the timelier fashion that I want to.
No, thank you, Jade. So it seems as if you've possibly made use of the platforms that are available to you. And just by your own testimony, it sounds as if it's been working and you've benefited from it.
Definitely.
Thank you. Jade, I'm going to give you a bit of a breather. I'm going to move to Charlotte now. As Charlotte indicated, Charlotte is very our HR manager, she's very well versed in the human resources field. So Charlotte, our world is really so driven by technology. Everything we touch, everything we see. And then let's not forget the AI and how AI has impacted us. Does HR still have a place in this world, in our world of work, in our world, in our spaces?
Thank you, Saj, for that question. You know, this question, it raises a lot of concerns when it comes to HR practitioners or even people who are studying HR. Yes, HR still has a role to play in the world of AI. So I believe AI is not there to replace HR practitioners, but it is there to assist HR practitioners. Okay. For example, it takes a lot of time for an HR practitioner, for example, to recruit, meaning from screening candidates. You have 100 CVs, and AI can do that in a short period of time. You know, AI can screen candidates, shortlist candidates, and also use, for example, those AI chatbots to communicate to candidates. And AI does that efficient and effective. Okay. AI is also involved when it comes to training and development, giving performance management feedback, and also suggesting to an employee the training or development that is needed. But AI uses data to analyze that information. And HR practitioners now need to come in place in terms of analyzing that data, making decisions using that AI data, and also HR practitioners need to communicate to management regarding that that AI information or data that came from AI. So yes, we as HR people, we still have a role, because AI cannot replace human. AI does not have that human touch. And as HR practitioners, we still need to analyze that data. So what I believe our role has changed a bit, or it's going to change a bit. We need to survive in this AI world as HR practitioners. We need to be data driven. For example, we need to analyze that data, make informed decision using that data. Also, we need to be technology driven. We need to understand these AI tools because someone needs to work with these AI tools, of which it's us. And I believe we still have a role to play. As I've said, people or human resource, they still need that human element or that human touch of which AI cannot provide that. Okay, so yes, Raj, to answer you, we still have a role. We will be working hand in hand with AI, but AI will not replace us. What is important as students, what you need to know, you need to understand technology to equip you for the world of work. Also, you need to understand data, meaning you need to have that mathematics skills, that accounting skills, that analytic skill, so that you can be able to analyze data, you can able to communicate to employees, to management and other stakeholders in assisting them to make decisions using that data. Thank you, Saj.
No, thank you. Thank you very, very much for that, Charlotte. It gives me huge comfort because, I mean, I'm also extremely passionate about HR. So, and like you rightfully say, we need to embrace, because the world is advancing quicker than we are actually even moving, I think, so, but thank you very, very much for that affirmation, Charlotte. Charlotte, before we move on, I think just while, so now we've heard about the SABPP, South African Board of
People
So
practices.
People practices. Thank you, Charlotte. So what is this? How does it support HR, and what role does it then play in our HR, and specifically for our academics as well?
Okay, so yes, as we've said, it's South African Board of People Practices. Okay, so SABPP plays a big role. For example, it professionalizes our qualification, meaning it ensures that, or it ensures us that our qualification is endorsed by a board. So it sets standards for HR professionals. It promotes ethical standards or ethical conduct in a way, and it also offers training. So it offers training for HR professionals, and it focuses on research, development, and collaboration with different stakeholders. So I would encourage our students to also register and become a member of SABPP, especially when they want to advance in their career, because you can develop there. There's a lot of things that you can learn from SABP, or what I've learned, for especially with training. It equips you, it develops you as an HR practitioner. So I would encourage I will encourage our students to actually register with SABP so they can become a member, of SABP. And it gives you that comfort when you know that your qualification, it's endorsed. Hence, I like Milpark qualification, because I know it's endorsed by SABPP. So you know that it gives you that surety. Our qualification gives you that surety or that comfort to say what we are assessing you or what we are teaching you, it's in line with the standards of SABPP. Also, such another role that I may think of, they also conduct, or they offer your HR audits to companies. So so they play a very big role when it comes to HR professional. Thank you, Saj.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. It's giving us that affirmation that we're putting out the right quality, right standard of content, of learning, and making sure that it's relevant, because in as much as, so everything's changing. So the practices, because it's about people practices. So it's making sure that we are also staying relevant with
industry.
With industry. That's right, yes. So thank you very much for that, Charlotte. Jade, I want to just pivot to you a little bit now again. So, and we're talking about skills and so forth. So and we know that it's the highest certificate. It's your first learning journey, but what, and if any, soft skills have you attained, or even professional habits have you attained through this journey? Because you shared with us you're coming to the close of your highest certificate, and it's been a year. So if there are any of the skills, and then that you feel that you can particularly or have already applied in your world of work.
Look, definitely, I think what Charlotte has mentioned now about human resources, obviously, when you do the module, you have your core subjects and then you can have your electives. And that really defines the route in which you're going in. And for me, I've chosen my subjects based on management in general, because that is sort of my focus, especially in the position that I'm in, where I work in a multitude of different, I wear multiple hats. But for me, having a module which includes human resources, which is not something that I had focused on solely in the past, there was so much value that I took away and I took out of that module, where I could apply that in the workspace, dealing with my team. Things that I otherwise had no formal experience, no formal training with at all. How to better communicate, how to show more empathy, how to engage different stakeholders who are at different levels of management. And it was very similar also with the marketing module. In my business, when we sat and we're having strategy sessions, there was so little I could contribute to that conversation, because I had no formal experience working in marketing. But that module that I did gave me so much experience that I was able to come to the table with knowledge and practical solutions. There was language and verbiage from what I'd learned, which I could now deliver in that conversation. So I think overall, my entire viewpoint and the way I come across in business and in work and in my engagements have come and stemmed from the knowledge that I've acquired doing these modules.
Thank you for sharing, Jade. And I want to maybe say a little sense of confidence, especially also in what you're putting forward, in what you're delivering. And I know that you're quite comfortable with speaking, and so but just that little edge of giving you that confidence.
Yes.
So sorry, okay. You're good. Sorry. Thanks, Jade. Thanks for sharing that, Jade.
Pleasure.
I'm going to now ask our logistics and supply chain queen, Nomalizo. So Lizo, and earlier too, I went out and I needed to get something urgently. So, but we walk into a retailer, the filling station is right across here, and our daily interactions with going and getting something off a shelf, or a service for that matter. What is the role or impact or influence, or all three for that matter, of logistics and supply chain when we look at, or take, I want to say we take it for granted, because it's like just there. We don't know how it gets there, when it gets there. So just please, if you can, put that into perspective for us. Thanks, Lizo.
Thank you, Saj. Well, supply chain is a dynamic business management concept. It's dynamic because it connects people, it connects things together. So you and I normally go to Spar to get a loaf of bread or a liter of milk at the end of the day to prepare for the next day. Supply chain management and logistics allows for that loaf of bread to be there exactly when I need it or exactly when I want it. So when businesses adopt the supply chain approach or supply chain philosophy as part of their profile, they basically are saying we want to keep or to take control of how information flows. We want to take control of how goods and services flow. We want to take control of how money flows. So those are the key three things that will always flow in a supply chain system: money, information, and goods or products and services. So that's how you and I are able to go and purchase what we want from the grocery store. So behind the scenes, there is a connection of businesses that intentionally decide to work together in order to get that thing. So what I get as a loaf of bread from Woolworths basically began with a farmer who decided to go commercial, and farm wheat. Somewhere along the lines came a baker, somebody who decided to purchase from the farmer and convert that wheat into flour, and ultimately convert the flour into bread that Spar, Checkers, Woolworths buys from that. So that's the connection of businesses. So that information flows between those suppliers. That information flows between your Woolworths and I, who is the consumer of the product. They do the adverts, they show what the price of the product is, they tell me what the ingredients are, and then I make an informed decision as a customer to purchase that. But beyond that, there is a whole lot of dynamics at play that allow for that product or service to be there. And that is what we call a supply chain. The logistics element comes in because in a supply chain, there will always be four things that are working together. One, we source our raw materials or goods, which means we buy or we procure. Hence, we have a module in procurement because we want to show you how that is done. Once we source those goods, in fact, we plan before we do that. Then we source. Once we source, we make the product. Once the product has been sourced, has been made, it is distributed to where it's needed. So this is how everything culminates, or this is how everything comes together. I have a desire as a mom to make lunches, for school. So I respond to an ad, or I respond to that agency by using a supermarket that's closer to my house. And the supermarket works with other businesses to make sure that that product is there because they have a clientele, of people who purchase that product. So there'll always be a connection of businesses that work together to either plan the whole system or the whole ecosystem. There'll always be a set of businesses who plan on how to buy what is needed for that product to be available. There'll always be a set of businesses that plan to make that product available for their targeted market. And the biggest part of it now has become the distribution element. How do we deliver that product, those loaves of bread or those cartons of milk to the supermarket so that the customer can go and buy? So supply chain is nice because it's a layer upon layer. You get to understand the scaffolding involved in getting a product or service out there. If you wanted to look at it even from the education system, without a physical or a tangible product, we're offering a service that Jade has been explaining to us what it is and how it means. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of people involved. This session is part of that value chain that allows for the customer to know about the product. Remember, we said there's information that flows in a supply chain. So this is part of that information that flows in the supply chain. Jade will probably, at some point get a promotion for qualifying, and that's the money that goes or that flows in the supply chain. Her certificates are the product or service in this educational supply chain. So supply chain is everywhere. It depends on how we want to say it.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you for bringing it home, making it so practical so that we can really get a better understanding of it. Something, and I read it on, but supply chain also, and just please help me here, focuses, and especially in today's day and time, focuses specifically also on corporate social responsibility, and the significance thereof, in the entire chain. So I don't know if you just maybe want to add one or two comments with regard to that, Lizo.
Well, I think corporate social responsibility is an old age business platform where businesses can showcase their kindness, that they are responsible, within the society that they operate in. But from a supply chain perspective, we call it the triple bottom line. So we don't just look at the social part. Over the years, there's been legislation and a need for companies to comply, to, those elements of the triple bottom line. So what are these? We're saying that when businesses make their products, they need to be aware of the environment in which they operate in. So the impacts of climate change need to be taken into account. The way in which they manufacture their products or services needs to take into cognizance the planet that we live in. So they need to produce environmentally friendly products. Hence, now when we go to the store, we get charged for plastic bags, something that wasn't happening a few years ago. So we look at it from the environmental aspect, we look at it from the social aspect. When you manufacture your products, do you pollute the air? To such an extent that not only is the environment affected, but the people in the community, are they also impacted? And are they impacted negatively? Businesses have always looked at it from a profit point of view, which is the money. And so corporate social responsibility is saying, no, you can't only be concerned with your profit maximization strategies, but also take care of the environment while you're at it. So your supply, which becomes a huge challenge for companies now, because let's just take Milpark, for instance. Milpark is environmentally friendly, not only because we do things online, but even when we're together, we know, not to use plastic cups, not to do that and that. So there's an environmentally friendly ecosystem that's
You've just muted yourself, Lizo.
Sorry. So there's
I did not mute you. I did not mute you.
There's an environmentally friendly ecosystem that's been, implemented in the organization. But are our stakeholders environmentally friendly?
Yes.
Can we vouch on them to come on board? So that becomes one of the biggest things in supply chain. One company wants to be environmentally friendly, they have a green agenda, but their suppliers are struggling. Their distributors are struggling. And so their ESG reporting does not come together, because as much as they have the intention, as much as they have the money to do so, the resources to do so, but the people that they work with are not coming to the party. So it's still a huge issue to navigate. Some companies are doing so, quite effectively, but most are struggling. And some are doing it because it's now required as a compliance, element. But yes, corporate social responsibility is a very big component of what we do in supply chain management.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Lizo. So we spoke to Jay just now about what skills or habits has she adopted or learned through the journey. So for somebody with logistics and supply management, Lizo, in South Africa, where would that person typically work or get employment?
Yeah, I think the possibilities are endless. I mentioned briefly in my intro that I started out as a buyer. So these are the times where we used to keep petty cash. I'm not sure if you guys, some of you fossils will remember that we used to keep petty cash.
Thanks, Lizo. Thank you.
And you just staple your receipts all together, and so that you balance your ledger at the end of the month. And all of that. So I started out as a buyer, and that's what we were doing. At the time, I would call Makro, I would call some suppliers that I knew of and ask how much a product is, how soon can it be delivered. I only required two things to make my decision: the money that's available in the kitty and the availability of the product. But that was in 2006, 2007. In 2025, we don't do that. We look at the bigger picture. We need to understand our ecosystem in the value chain. How will procuring those goods help us? From a procurement element, you want to work in such a way that the company does not run out of what it needs. So your procurement strategy cannot be based on two elements. It's probably going to be based on three. It may even be based on five, depending on the needs of your organization and the needs of your clientele. So there's that one part of supply chain sourcing. There are skills needed in procurement. Whether it's private sector or the public sector. We've heard a lot about corruption in the public sector or in South Africa. And it's mainly because there is a lack of understanding of what procurement legislation requires in public sector transactions. So there's a variety of skills that are required, and our qualification caters for people in the public sector and in the private sector. I've just mentioned just one element of supply chain that we're going to teach, which is procurement. Then there's logistics. We know that the key industries in South Africa are manufacturing, mining, retail. And transport and distribution of goods is very important for the South African economy. The storage of goods is very important for the South African economy because we rely on those things. So there's that element of logistics where you can be employed in warehousing to manage cargo. You can be employed in distribution where you manage a fleet of trucks, to make sure that goods get to where they are needed. In line with that example we made about you going to buy milk or bread from Spar, there needs to be somebody that manages that process. In academia, we need supply chain lecturers. For instance, a lot of people who are in supply chain did not start in supply chain. Some people started in finance, and they were dealing with a lot of supply chain or procurement transactions, and they decided to cross the floor. Some people in supply chain are writing policy. And so there is a multitude of skills that are required by companies, especially in the key sectors in supply chain. So it's a highly needed a skill. There is a skills shortage. I was writing a report yesterday, and when I was preparing for it, I was reading one of the reports by the automotive sector in South Africa. And we know that there's been an influx of imports from China, making it difficult for the automotive sector in South Africa to keep up with the cheap imports. So they look at some of the things that have contributed to the lack of sales for new vehicles in South Africa and the job losses in the manufacturing sector. And skills has come up as a top priority for that industry. So when you do a supply chain and logistics qualification, I can promise you that possibilities are endless, and it really doesn't matter which industry you are in.
Okay. Thank you very, very much, Lisa. I'm going to give you a break now. So thank you very, very much for sharing that information. Sietso, we did not forget about you. Sietso, please. So we here as higher certificate and advanced certificate in management. Jade has spoken about and shared her experiences with the advanced certificate in management, and we're going to embark on that on the higher certificate. So we're going to embark on the advanced certificate in management. But now, Sietso, what is so special about the advanced certificate in management? Why would a student choose to study with us, and particularly the qualification for the advanced certificate in management?
Okay. Thank you so much, Serge. And I think, as I said in my introduction, to say, I would want to relate more on myself or Jade as our student and our future students. So the importance really lies with the skills that Nomaliso has been talking about. I think Jade mentioned when she was mentioning the rationale why she wanted, she touched on the skills that she needed for her to get the promotion. And my view is that I totally agree with her. And that's the reason why all of us were in this call. And perhaps that's the reason why all of us, we are saying, why higher certificate management? Why advanced certificate management? Because the key theme there is management. And that's what I like about these qualifications, higher certificate and advanced, because they don't give you one skill, but it's, the latest lingo is one size fits all. Sometimes you go to these shops, and I remember last time we wanted to buy a tie, and it's like, oh, I want extra large. Then they say, no, it's one size fits all, So you get that these qualifications, it's one size fits all. Why am I saying it's one size fits all? It's because, Lizzo, I 100% I agree with you, but I'm just going to say, doing higher certificate and advanced management itself, it's the biggest umbrella. So then logistics and supply chain will come under, because then we are saying you will need to have basics of management. Remember, guys, I told you that I'm coming from, the higher certificate where I have to start from the scratch and up until to the higher level. So now, I think also Jade spoke about the issue of confidence. This one size fits all. It gives you variety of modules that we as Melpark, when designing this qualification, we sat down to say, what is it that a normal, practically a student would need, or a human being will need? Look at yourself, look at myself. Now I'm a lecturer. Back then, perhaps I was a student. So one would say, okay, for this person to be a lecturer, what is it that you need? I need one size fits all. I need to know HR. I need to know marketing. I need to know economics. I need to know accounting. I need to know strategic management, people skills, and everything. So then we put everything together to say all these are the these are the modules that one would need for you to be able to accomplish that particular certificate. And the certificate itself, it's just, it's a modern word to say it's a certificate. But we are saying you have got a skill that turned out to be an interpersonal skill. Because for myself, I think some of my colleagues that have known me, I don't enter any meeting without not talking. And at some stage, some people's like, you talk too much. Yes, I talk too much because I know too much. Why am I knowing too much? I know too much because I did high certificate, I did advanced diploma. Why? Because then I have a say in whatever that is happening. If it's a financial meeting, whatever, I still have basics of accounting, so I can add there. If it's marketing, I have something to say about marketing. You guys don't laugh. There was a position that I applied and I was not qualified. It was marketing, but I was interviewed for that position because I had something to say on that position. Why? Because I did higher certificate, advanced, and they gave me the aspects of marketing. So that tend to be the interpersonal skills. You understand that. You look at something like the business ethics. You look at something like integrated strategy. In companies nowadays, whether you are in corporate, Jade, I don't know where you are, you sit in those board meetings and they say, come, let's strategize. Believe me, as a product of Melpark, you don't have to sit around the table not participating, because then you know too much. You will add value because you've got that interpersonal skill. You have learned that module that you didn't learn the module just for you to pass, but that module tends to be your skill. For example, we talk about management. It will give you aspects of how do you plan? How do you get organized? How do you lead? So at some stage, somewhere, somehow in a meeting, you will contribute, you will participate, you will have that confidence that maybe someone who didn't do the qualification, it doesn't have, because the confidence goes hand in hand with the skill. So you will have to have a say, and they will end up saying, "Hey, Zaid, we know you are going to say something. Okay, Zaid, we know you talk too much." Yes, because you have done a qualification that has given you a skill that is one size fits all. That, believe me, as you progress further, you will see the advantage of it, that it's not only what you read in the book, but it adds value in your personal life. You do supply chain, you will need to be able to plan properly. You will need to be able to control some of the things. You will need to be able to even to lead your team, even in your personal life, to lead your kids, to lead your cousins in the families. You need this. And that's why I'm saying these qualifications, they are not only the qualifications, but they tend to be interpersonal skills that we groom our students to grow in. And maybe eventually they will end up being, being like me. These skills, they will put you everywhere. I heard normally, so when she was saying with the supply chain, the opportunities are endless. And I can say with the higher certificate management and advanced certificate, as I just said, that is interpersonal skill, that the opportunities thereof are so much that you wouldn't believe. And that's why sometimes you see some students, when they graduate, some of them, they get a little bit of emotional, they cry. And you ask it to say, why are you crying? Because then you can't, perhaps at times you can't believe the person that you have become. You can't even to say, it's last year I didn't know this, but now I know this. It's last year that, I couldn't present in the boardroom. It's last year that I couldn't write a report, but now your confidence, it has grown, because now you can stand up. Now you can, be able to talk to the CEO face to face, be able to argue a little bit, because it's not always the case that you agree, but at times you voice out to say, but I think, and that you think, remember, because it's a skill that you are groomed at. It's like, actually, that is a good idea. Can you write the report on that? Then you start to be emotional to say, me writing the report? No, I was just suggesting. No, because someone saw something there, and then immediately they saw your potential, your level of thinking. Charlotte spoke about the analytic skill, where now you can immediately, when someone says something, you can analyze, and you put all these things together that we have learned and put them, put them together and give the answer. So you will see that doing advanced certificated management, it's not only your starting passport, but now it's opening even a bigger opportunity in front of you, because then you can even be able to do your higher degree and Q level 7. You can do your BBA, your BComs, and the sky is the limit. So it's then, but now we are saying it's not only starting with you doing the degree. Yes, I applaud people that just get entrance to to the degree level, but at times I pity them to say, but you have missed the basics of higher certificate and advanced, because then would have groomed you with a lot of skills that you need. You look at our modules not only as a theoretical module, but as a practical, as application, as a skill that is being ingested in you, that tomorrow you come to this platform, perhaps you can be able to say something about those qualifications. So I don't know if I have answered your questions, but I just wanted to relate to say, why is it so important to do advanced certificate management? Because indeed it gives you the roots. Indeed, even if perhaps you can decide to do your degree maybe after 2 years, but you will still get that promotion. You will still get to that level of managerial that you need. Why? Because of how you portray yourself, because of your thinking, because of your critical skill, because of your confidence, your interpersonal skills, how you communicate, how you say whatever that it's you, but you wouldn't have to before you do higher certificate, before you do advanced, before you even meet MELPAC, you were not able to do that. But the moment you did those qualifications, believe me, you will then be a different individual. And that's why I would say, please come and do this qualification. It's not just a paper, but it's an interpersonal skill. It's the passport to all the opportunities that are there. You can get into whatever the career, and that's where one size fits all comes in. You can, whether you want to go to finance, whether you want to be a lawyer, whether you want to be think about any career. I don't care whether it's IT, I don't care whether it's in whatever, you will still need the basics of management. You will still need to be able to plan, whether you plan technology, it's IT, I don't care, whether you are under medically, you need to plan, you need to lead, you need to control, and you need to be organized out of all. And without the management qualification or skill, you wouldn't be able to do that. You know, and that's why you would find that at times those institutions perhaps that have got those, let's say engineering, we'll just make an example of engineering or the law degree. Somewhere, somehow, one of their modules has to do with management. Why? Because they would have realized the need of doing any management module, because that is not only a module, it's a skill. So here at MELPAC, we are not giving you as a module, but we are saying we are giving the full package. So come and start with us, then you got this because we got you, right, Saj?
Thank you, thank you, Siet. So if that does not exude passion, then I don't know. So thank you very, very much, Sietso. I just want to, and you touched specifically on, it is not just practical. It is, it's for your personal life. So it's to echo you, it's the full package. It's looking at an individual holistically. So thank you very, very much for that, Sietso. Jade, we are just checking the time. I just want to check with you. So we've said this, I think, 3 or 4 times already, that you're on the bridge between your higher certificate and the advanced certificate in management. And if you go and you sit and you look back, what for you was the most significant shift or transformation that you had experienced? So, and if you look at, because I'm just, you most likely started with us a year ago because it is a year qualification. So if you can maybe just share with us, what was the most significant shift and or transformation for you, please?
So firstly, I think it's important just to note and to mention that Sietso's enthusiasm and energy, it radiates right through. And over a year ago, I sat exactly where I am now, and I was part of an information session just like this with all of you, where I was totally convinced and, you know, excited about starting my journey. Of course, it is overwhelming, especially when you haven't studied for a very, very long time. Also, sometimes if you're a little bit more mature, you're not certain if you can keep up with the pace, what the workload is going to be like. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't touch on the course material that's provided. Well, I see my camera has stopped working, so I apologize. If you just give me a second, hopefully you can still hear me.
We can, Jade, thank you.
All right, so it should come back online. So I definitely think it's important to mention that the course material that is provided it's so well put together. It is so well formulated that it really makes the studying journey far easier. And I hadn't expected that from the outset, you know, coming from a place where you know, textbooks are over 1,000 pages, study guides are 500 pages deep. I really found that the course material provided was at a very high level, regardless of everything else that's also provided. And I think that that's also important that the prospective students know and understand that the support that's provided online is an amazing stepping stone and guide to help you navigate the course material that's provided. And for me, I found that really made my experience and my learning journey not only easier to manage, but also less overwhelming. So, I mean, I'm confident now, based on what I've gone through the past year, that I can do the advanced certificate. And had I not taken on the journey in the first place, I would never most probably have thought that I could do it. But now I have the confidence to know that I can.
Jade, thank you very, very much for that, and for sharing. It's it's not always easy to sit here and talk about your personal experiences, but we really, really appreciate that.
Very welcome.
At this point, are there any questions that we might have missed, or questions from anybody who is attending before, because we still have just a few more minutes? If not, okay, we can check. Is there anything in closing that one of the academics would like to say?
Sash? Hi,
Yes,
Sash.
yes.
Maybe we can just clarify. I can see Thabo says, I understand the advanced certificate in management is no longer being offered.
Oh,
Could you kindly share the reasons for this? No, as far as I'm aware, no.
Sorry, I missed the name of the individual who's asking.
It's
However,
Thabo.
Thabo, thank you very much for the question. I don't know where you got that, but the advanced certificate in management is definitely still very much offered within Milpark, so, and the School of Commerce. So we still, I mean, you're welcome to register for semester 2, and then we've also got exciting things happening for from January 2026. So please do not lose faith or lose hope. We're definitely still offering the advanced certificate in management. Wendy, if you're here, maybe take Tabo's details so that we can reach out to Tabo, and if Tabo has more questions for us. But thank you very much for raising that. So sorry, ladies, is there anything else in closing? Okay, when will we be receiving the study material? The study material, let me just get to the questions, apologies. So, sorry, it's Matsadiso. I'm not sure which study material you're referring to. However, once you register and get admitted, your study material, you should receive your study material before you actually start the course. If it's something specific, please put it in the chat, and also just mention the course or the module name so that we can establish where it is and why you have not received it as yet, and then one of us will be in contact with you.
Okay. Maybe just to also add to what you say, Sajida, that maybe we can also just to add to say, if it may happen that perhaps before you started the course, you didn't get the study material, once you have got access to the online, Milpark online, the course page, the student course page, you just go to that particular module and you will find that all the information is on the system. So you will just find the study guide and other relevant information that you need while you are still waiting for other learning materials.
Thanks, it's very relevant. So thank you for just mentioning that. I have registered for design thinking for business success. Oh, okay. So that's our last module coming up. But you will definitely receive that only starts in October, if I'm not mistaken, Wendy. So you will definitely receive all of your material required in advance, Matsudi. So thanks for that. Sorry, do we have any other questions? Because every time I move on, there's a question that pops up.
No, it's like we are good. It's like we are good. Martin says happy, and even Thabo, I have seen Thabo is also happy. So I think we are good.
Okay, all right. If there are no further questions, however, let this not be the end of the conversation. Please reach out, and so that we can guide you, assist you with whatever it is that you may still need to inquire on further. I'd like to thank everybody for your time, for making the time to come and listen to us. We really, really appreciate it. Looking forward to see your names, not just on this platform, but when we have our online classes, to see you there. Really looking forward to that. Nomalizo, Charlotte, Sietso, thank you very much for your time, for participating. And Jade, a very, very special thank you to you. I know you've got issues with your camera, but I know that you're still there. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. And I know that we will see you in the Advanced Certificate in Management, Jade. So to everybody, thank you very, very much. Have a wonderful evening. Stay warm. Take care. And looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.